Hey guys, it's Jasmine. I'm back with another video today. This one I would say is definitely more of a serious topic. This is a video on a missing couple from Coachella, California. Again, you know, I mean, if you guys have kind of watched my other videos, you know that I'm more interested in cases that pertain to areas that are closer to me, if that makes sense. And so this is definitely one of those videos that, you know, more or less like hits close to home. So this is long. I don't know if you guys can see the thickness of these note cards, but there's quite a bit of information. I have literally tried to film this video. I think this is my 5th time. The first couple times was because I felt like it wasn't right because I was gonna have a friend help me, but then like he wasn't able to. And so now it's like I'm doing it by myself, and I don't know if like his presence in the video is the reason why I feel like I'm not able to do it very well. So it's long. It's my 5th time. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in. On the evening of May 9th, 2017, 26-year-old Audrey Moran got off work from her place of employment, Extra Space Storage, Bermuda Dunes, and when she got to her sister's house around 8:45 p.m., she told her sister that she was in the process of going to pick up her then boyfriend, 28-year-old Jonathan Darling Reynoso. She said she was going to pick him up from an undisclosed location somewhere in East Valley and drop him off at his Palm Desert apartment. Now, although there's no definitive evidence that's placing these two people together, it's pretty much safe to assume that they were indeed together, because they're both missing together, and we'll get into all of that. So Jonathan was supposedly in Brawley, California, and she was picking him up from the undisclosed location to bring him back to his house in Palm Desert. Now, Jonathan doesn't drive. I couldn't find any information of why Jonathan doesn't drive, but he just doesn't. So I don't know if that means like he doesn't know how, he didn't have a license at the time, he had no vehicle, not quite sure. Point is, he can't drive. So he went with some friends. The weird thing about these friends is all of Jonathan's close friends who had a great relationship with don't know of these people. None of Audrey's friends know of these people that he went to Brawley with. So even to this day, almost a year and a half later, nobody can identify what friends he was with when he went to Brawley. Now, police actually suspect, and family suspects, that he was actually never in Brawley. Now the reason for this is because he ordered a pizza at 5:44 p.m. that night from Domino's. Now, if you order a pizza from Domino's, they know part of their strategy is they like to get you your pizza within a half an hour. So say he ordered the pizza at 5:44 p.m. That means he didn't get the pizza until around 6:15 p.m. Then you have to take into consideration that part of the pizza was eaten. So we'll give him 15 minutes to eat the pizza. Even then, let's say he didn't have any time to eat the pizza and he brought a couple pieces with him because he wasn't driving and he was able to eat in the car. So he leaves his house at 6:15. That puts him arriving in Brawley, California at 7:45 p.m. because it's about an hour and a half away. It's about 70 miles. So if she's leaving her sister's house at 6:45 to go pick him up, and he didn't even get to Brawley until 7:45, that means he would have had to literally just drive there, completely turn around, and then drive back. Which makes no sense, because if he was hanging out with them, he's gonna want more time. Not to mention, who goes to hang out at a random city that he's never been to and only stays for 5 minutes? It just doesn't make sense. So family and police are starting to think that he was never even in Brawley, California in the first place. Now, Jonathan and his group of friends have a group chat on Instagram where they more or less share like funny different memes that they see, funny little GIFs, whatever you want to call them. I call them GIFs. A lot of people call them GIFs. I don't know. I got nothing. They share, you know, random posts from Instagram, and I guess at this point they were roasting on a Bow Wow picture. And if you don't know who Bow Wow is, you may be too young to be watching this video. So at 9:05 p.m., Jonathan writes in that group chat, "I'm dying." Now, I have no evidence of what that truly means, but my assumption is he didn't mean it as in like I'm dying, you know, like he was being killed. I personally, which I have no evidence to back up my statement, but I think it was more of a like, oh my god, I'm dying, that is hilarious. Or only because I feel like if he were in real danger, he probably wouldn't have jumped on a group chat and said I'm dying. You know, he probably would have been like, help, 911, something like that, but not just I'm dying. So I personally feel like it was literally just I'm dying. Mind you, there was no laughing emojis, there was no LOL, nothing. It just said I'm dying. Jonathan could only open messages and reply back if he had Wi-Fi. So during this whole time, when he did reply back and said I'm dying, he had to have been somewhere that had Wi-Fi. So then one of his friends they cracked a joke about him and he didn't reply back. So his friend at first thought, oh crap, I kind of made him mad. I didn't mean to do that, because they had that brotherly camaraderie. You know, they all kind of just joked around with each other and nobody really got offended. And so he thought he had offended him because there was no reply back. Now to jump over to Audrey, around 9-ish, around 8:50 to 9-ish o'clock at night, Audrey's mom went ahead and texted her and asked, you know, hey Mija, like, what are you doing? Where are you? Audrey wrote back with Jonathan and then sent this picture. Now, later we're going to find out that the picture that she had just sent her mom was actually taken the night before. But if you're a mom and you're asking your daughter where she is, then, you know, she sends you a picture looking like she's in public with someone else, you're not going to question anything. Unfortunately, that comment in the group chat with Jonathan's friends and that text message to Audrey's mom is the last time anyone has ever heard from them. After there was no reply back from Jonathan, his friends went ahead and tried to call him and realized that his phone was completely off. And Audrey's sister tried to call Audrey and realized that her phone was completely off. The next morning on Thursday, May 10th, Audrey's mom tried to call OnStar and ask them to track down her car because she never made it home and her phone was turned off. Unfortunately, OnStar told her that they couldn't do that unless there was a police report. So her mom had to make the dreaded decision to call the police and report her daughter missing. Now mind you, my kids are gonna be 3 next week. They're still my little babies. I don't ever want to have to make a report saying that my child is missing. It scares me. It makes me sick to have to think of what these parents are going through, you know? To just know that there's just no trace of them. They're gone. So at 9 o'clock a.m., Audrey was reported missing from her parents, and around noon, Jonathan was reported missing. Jonathan's mom lived out of state, and one of his friends made the phone call to her, telling her that her son was missing, and she immediately came down here thinking she would be back later that night. The police didn't think that they were actually missing. They thought that they had voluntarily went missing and that they had run away together. But that doesn't make sense because they both had plans that weekend. Audrey was planning on working a couple extra shifts at the storage facility, and she was going to hang out with friends, and Jonathan had a concert that he was going to go to with friends. So I don't think they would have ran away right before then, personally. Police were able to use OnStar. They were able to track down Audrey's 2010 GMC Terrain. They found it on May 12th, 2017, 2 days later, parked on the westbound side of the I-10 in Beaumont, California on Oak Valley Parkway. I drive by that location probably twice a week because it's so close to me. There's cars that are kind of parked on the side of the road a lot. I never really think much of it. I think, oh, you know, somebody had car trouble. But I always notice if a car is parked there. And I always recognize that. So I'm shocked that car had been parked there for 2 whole days and not one person called it in or noticed it. When forensics got to the scene, they did a full search of the car, and they said that the car was so clean it was like it was new. They said that there were no wallets or purses that were found. There was no evidence of forced entry. The car was fueled and it was working properly. They then had the bloodhounds, and let me just say Riverside County has some of the best bloodhounds in the nation. So they used them to track the scent. The scent, there's conflicting stories. Some people say, or some reports say that the scent went 20 to 50 feet ahead of the car, and other people said that the scent went 20 to 50 feet off to the field. Either way, the story is consistent that their scent disappeared after 20 to 50 feet. When you look at the picture of the car, you do notice that the back window is rolled down. And I find that to be a pretty suspicious thing, because if somebody's going to be kidnapped, and somebody, say the two people that are being held hostage are in the front seat. If you're in the back seat and you're holding a gun and you're wanting them to get out of the vehicle to be able to get into another vehicle, you're going to want that window rolled down so that you can make sure you have the gun pointed at them so they can't run, if that makes sense. So I think that's a big detail. I'm not a detective. The detectives are doing what they're doing, so I don't know. But Indio police did find the vehicle in Beaumont, California, off of the I-10 freeway. So at this point, police went and contacted Caltrans, and they wanted to know if there were any recordings that they had picked up. Unfortunately, the official for Caltrans told the police that they don't actually record anything, that it's more or less for live traffic feeds. There's actually no recording done. So there was nothing that they would be able to catch on video of what happened to the couple. Then police decided that they were going to go back on phone records, computer records, and see if they could find anything that linked them to the disappearance, and they found absolutely nothing. Cops interviewed friends and family. Cops interviewed a lot of different people. No one was expecting a visit from them. Nobody had any information. They were just gone. On May 18th, the family decided to start making missing persons flyers, and they were handing them out to people, hanging them up, and trying to get the word out about them. On June 10th, there was a candlelight vigil, and they were able to definitely make it a little bit more known to the public that they were missing. At this point, they had business cards made. They were handing business cards out to people. They made bracelets that they were selling for reward money. They were making Christmas ornaments to sell for reward money. They opened a GoFundMe account, and once the GoFundMe account hit $10,000, they closed that. And from what I'm aware of, any of the proceeds that they're making from selling anything else to get their name out there is just being piled into the rewards, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. Days after they came up missing, friends of Jonathan decided to go into his apartment and start moving out his belongings into storage, and found out that he owed the apartment complex that he was living about $2,200, and that was for back rent. There was no destruction to the apartment or anything like that. It was just back rent. And they realized that they think that he was not working at the time. Originally, he was supposed to be working at Desert Regional, but they think that he may have lost his job, but he was too prideful to admit that. So he was behind in about $2,200 in rent, and he owed that. And a lot of people think just because he had lost his money and that he took a random trip to Brawley, that it had to do with drugs. And from the interviews that I've watched and my personal feelings, I don't think that was the case. His friends said that they had went to San Diego one year, and he was too afraid to even get near the border because he didn't want to be kidnapped. So I just don't think that he has the character to want to like run drugs or anything across state lines. I think that the whole, that has nothing, I feel like the whole Brawley trip has nothing to do with his financial situation at the time, but that's just my personal opinion. So on June 25th of 2017, a random profile started posting stuff on some of the websites and some of the Facebook pages that were made to raise awareness about Audrey and Jonathan. Now, I'm going to go ahead and look down, and I'm going to read you the quotes that this weirdo, I'm going to call him a weirdo, that this weirdo was leaving. And some of them are pretty disturbing. It's that girl Audrey. I'm sure one of her exes had something to do with both. I understand that the ex was mad and wanted revenge on her. Another post said, 100% sure they're dead. And the one that really kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies is, I know exactly where they are. Patience is a virtue. Now, whether that's a joke, whether that's serious, it's totally inappropriate. These people are mourning the loss of their children. They don't know where they are. They don't know if they're dead. They don't know if they're alive. They don't know if they're in danger. They don't know if they ran away together to be happy. You don't post that kind of stuff. It's rude. It's gross. It's disturbing. But keep this in mind. Police found out through multiple credible witnesses that Audrey and Jonathan were actually not an official couple, and that she was dating another guy. The other guy's name was Aaron. Now, family doesn't think that this Aaron is the same Aaron that was posting that stuff. People don't really know. Sometime in mid-June 2017, Indio police handed the case over to the Riverside County Sheriff's Homicide Unit, and they took over the case and really started trying to work on the case and crack it. There were many public searches done and many private searches done, and eventually there was a search warrant that was issued to the other boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, Aaron, if that's what you want to call him. I stumbled upon some information on the internet that linked the Aaron that was making those dirty comments on the Facebook pages to an Aaron who had a search warrant issued for his home, but I don't want to put that information on here because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So when they issued this search warrant, they blocked off the street, and the rule was nobody is leaving any of these houses and nobody is coming into any of these houses until they were done with their search. Neighbors said that they witnessed the police come out with multiple trash bags of what we believe is evidence from this person's home. And when asked, a lot of the neighbors said that this house was known for wild, loud, crazy parties, but has not had one single party since the couple came up missing, which to me is incredibly suspicious. On May 22nd, 2017, this man reported his car missing, and they also found it torched. And that's where we're at. We have no more information. That's it. I'm hoping and praying that detectives have the evidence that they need and they're just waiting for something to nail a suspect. Reports say that police are hopeful in finding out what happened to this couple, and I'm hoping that the reason there's no more information is because they're keeping it hush-hush and they're closing in on whoever it is. I have been watching this story since it broke. And then on October 15th of 2017, reports came that there were 2 bodies, a male and a female, that were found in Joshua Tree. And I remember when I read that report, I thought, no, don't let it be these people. Don't let it be this couple. Fortunately, it was not, but unfortunately, they were still people and they were missing. And that's a whole nother story. But I guess for the family's sake, they can still hold out hope because they weren't their children's bodies that were found. And again, I'm not trying to say that it's any better because these specific people were found dead and Audrey and Jonathan weren't. It's still a sad situation, but at least they were able to rule them out as their children, if that makes sense. Besides that, there's nothing. I'm going to go ahead and give you descriptions of what they look like and insert some pictures so that you guys are able to hopefully identify them if you see them walking around, if they ran away together, let them be happy. But I think that their family just needs the closure to know if they ran away together to be happy. So Jonathan's description is 5'10" to 5'11". He's 175 pounds to 180 pounds. He has brown hair, brown eyes. He has a fade cut and he has a bit of a goatee. He has scars that include one on his right knee, above his right eyebrow, a mole above his right lip near his nose, and he has a small third nipple on his left side. His tattoos are a area code 760 on his left arm. He has Son of God inside of his left arm. He has flags on his inner right arm. He has a skull on his right arm, and he has a small Asian symbol on the left side of his chest. Now, Audrey is 5 foot to 5'2", 120 to 130 pounds. She has brown hair, brown eyes. She wears glasses. She has her ears pierced. She has a scar on the upper left side of her back, and she has a scar on her left thigh. Now, these scars are from her having a couple abscesses when she was younger. Her tattoos include this tattoo right here, which is on the left side of her chest in red ink, and it says "My Little Piece of Heaven." And then she also has 2 dove tattoos on her pelvis. On one side, the word faith is over a dove, and on the other side of her pelvis, the word hope is on the other side of the dove. If you guys have any information that can help the police, or if you think you've seen them or you know their whereabouts, go ahead and call this number, 1-760-393-3544. Police have asked for people to not call them with their theories and to not give tips that they personally think are tips, but there's no proof behind, because every time that you send a tip, it's just making the investigation process longer and it's giving them more that they need to work through. If you have a legitimate tip, go ahead and give that number a call. I'm going to go ahead and insert it into the description box. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen for you guys. So thank you so much for your time, you guys. Go ahead and please share this video. The more shares, the more people see it, the more people may be able to help. Go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.